Hey everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, I have to talk to you guys about the Dragon Quest AI situation. This is something that I hoped I didn't have to talk about, but it's kind of blown up a little bit, and I figured I would let you guys know what's going on here, maybe why it's happening, and kind of the pushback from the fan base in regards to Dragon Quest and Square Enix using AI for Dragon Quest related features. If you enjoy Dragon Quest and JRPG content like top 10 videos, reviews, guides, and news, please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all so you don't miss the next video. You can also hype the video to help the channel out and help others find it. And of course, the best way to help the channel out financially is to join the channel and become a Dragon Warrior today. Now, let's get into it. Alright, so on August 20th, the official Dragon Quest PR Twitter account posted Mike chanted Gigadane, which is the Kazap spell, and said you can also generate images from photos of your pets. Now, don't get me wrong, I love slimes and I love kitties, but I do not love AI-generated slimes and or kitties. Thankfully, this was pointed out to a lot of other Dragon Quest fans on Twitter by Gamuki Draws Near. You can find him at _Gamuki on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. He felt bad tagging a bunch of us, but he tagged a bunch of Dragon Quest creators and just people online that are big Dragon Quest fans and post about Dragon Quest quite often. It was basically just a push for Square Enix and Dragon Quest in general to stop polluting Dragon Quest with generative AI technology that uses data centers, causing environmental pollution and destruction of the planet. He even tagged Yuji Horii in this post here, and he posted no to AI generated images. Now, I don't know what your personal preferences are on AI generated images. I know I've used them in the past before I realized what the effects on people and communities and just the planet in general are. It's not worth the problems it's causing. Not to mention, a lot of these like data centers and stuff are literally just there to track people's data without consent. Not even necessarily there for AI. Some of them are and some of them are not. And then of course the fact that AI is just unauthorized theft of other people's works, right? Which is not cool at all. I get the argument where like I wasn't going to pay an artist anyways for this, so I'm just gonna mock something up. I kind of get it, right? Like it's hard to make stuff and get going from nothing, but at the same time, it's straight up theft at the end of the day, right? Unauthorized theft. Editing note here, is there such a thing as authorized theft? Let me know down in the comments. With that being said, I just want to look at kind of Yuji Horii's point of view here. We've got the fan base's point of view. We've got people like Grania spoke out about this, and of course myself and the questers, but I just wanted to talk about maybe Yuji Horii's perspective here. And this, like many polarizing things, is something that people on the internet are going to like absolutely sink you for, lose their minds on you for. And that's a big problem with the internet nowadays, is people are either all in or all out, and they don't take into consideration the point of view of somebody else. Now I get it, if they are aware of the problems something is causing and still decide to press on, that's different, right? In a recent interview with Yuji Horii, he went on to talk about how he does like AI, and the reasoning being, I think, is because he doesn't see a difference between modern generative quote-unquote AI, something like Google Gemini, which has been implemented in Dragon Quest X, and the new conversational companion they added to Dragon Quest X called the Chatty Slimy, or Oshiberi Slimy, that is meant to lower the barrier of entry to people that maybe want to play alone in Dragon Quest X, but also want some help if need be, right? They don't want to reach out to other players. Maybe they're too shy. They just don't like interacting with other players. And before you say Dragon Quest X is an MMO, if you don't like interacting with players, why are you even playing it? Dragon Quest X is a Dragon Quest game through and through. It just happens to be online. You can play through the entire game by yourself. I played through the vast majority of this game completely on my own, and I enjoyed every minute of my time with Dragon Quest X. It's not your typical MMO. It plays like a Dragon Quest game. It's story-centric like a Dragon Quest game, all that. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. The new Oshaberi Slimy, or Chatty Slimy, that's been integrated into Dragon Quest X just uses Google's Gemini AI. Not the greatest thing. Yuji Horii is all for it because of those reasons I mentioned previously, and because I think that Yuji Horii doesn't understand the difference between the modern AI and like generative AI and what he created in Dragon Quest IV, because he's constantly kind of referencing that AI whenever the topic of AI gets brought up. I know there's like a joke that a lot of like boomers love the AI slop, and I think a lot of that is they either don't realize, don't care to educate themselves, or some of them just don't care the effects of AI and all that. But I know like my mom will send me like these ridiculous photos of her cat in like a business suit or something and just think it's hilarious. It's something that takes 2 seconds to do, so they don't see the harm in it as much as you tell them. I don't know, you know how some people are. They either just don't give a shit, or they don't think that it's that big of a concern. In Yuji Horii's case, I just don't know that he is aware of the damage that this causes. Like I said, I don't think he sees a difference in the AI that we use today, which in my opinion is not AI. I know there are some forms of maybe AI, but it's basically just searching the internet for information and compiling that. It's not AI as far as I'm concerned, right? AI is like an artificial intelligence. This is just data gathering mechanism, basically, is all modern AI is for the most part. When interviewed about the use of AI in Dragon Quest, he mentions how the Dragon Quest series is credited with having one of gaming's first AI systems. In 1990's Dragon Quest IV, the player could give party members general instructions, and the AI then selected actions for each one. The characters would straight up learn in battle, and a lot of people, there's like memes about this because Kirill or Kyril, however you want to pronounce it, I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, tell me in the comments. He uses AI, he uses his like built into the cartridge AI to learn what enemies are weak against the defeat spell, right? Or the thwack or whack spell. So they're always like actually like trying things, and the way the AI was built in Dragon Quest IV is that the more times each character fights against a certain monster, the more they learn, they actually learn what that monster's weaknesses are, what they're weak to, and that is why Kyril is always going to use the defeat spell, because he wants to test if that works on that monster or not. He'll only use it once. The only time it happens a lot is during the final boss fight, because the game treats each form of the final boss as a new monster technically, so that's why that happens. That is completely different. That is an AI system built by a developer on a standalone cartridge. This is not something that is being generated by stealing other people's work. This is not something that is being generated from like data centers and shit like that, right? I think that is a big reason why he's a fan of it. His age, obviously, it would be similar to my mom's situation, where it's just like, I don't understand, how could this be so bad, right? How could this be so bad? It takes me 2 seconds, I can make funny pictures of my cat. In an interview with Famitsu that's been translated by Games Radar Plus, Horii explains his choice to implement Slimy and his opinions on AI in general. He says, because nowadays AI is really smart. It's fun, he says. It doesn't matter what I ask of it, it hardly ever makes things up anymore. And then this Games Radar article goes on to say AI often has issues with factual accuracy, as it often gives users an answer even if it doesn't have the necessary information, which is true. The game designer who is most commonly associated with SquareEnix has had a similar experience. Yuji Horii went on to say, quite some time ago I asked AI about myself and it said I was a Nintendo employee, he said with a laugh. And that just goes on to say, like, AI, it is not artificial intelligence for the most part. It's just grabbing and gathering data. It's data compilement basically, and then coming up with results based on that data that is all across the internet, be it true or false, right? He then goes on to defend AI by saying it's evolving, and lately there are a lot of things you can do with it. Slimy is a conversational partner, so I think it lowers the barrier of entry to interacting with AI. So what are your guys' thoughts? These are kind of his thoughts on it, and like I said, I'm willing to give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt here because of his age, because of what he is most likely correlating modern AI to. I don't think he sees and understands the harm in its usage. I think it's up to, obviously, himself to educate himself, but I think it's maybe up to the fan base and people maybe around him to try and educate him. I've mentioned it earlier in this video. A big problem is that people are willing to hate instead of educate when it comes to polarizing opinions online. So I always think it's more important to educate than it is to hate. Obviously, there are absolute sacks of shit online as there is in everyday life. So I mean, yeah, there's some people that definitely warrant the hatred or whatever, but I think educate should always come before hate. So let me know your thoughts on AI, on Yuji Horii's opinion on the situation as a whole, and your thoughts on educate over hate when it comes to dealing with people on the internet or just even in everyday life. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all so you don't miss the next one. You can also hype the video to help out and help others find the video. And if you want to help the channel financially, be sure to join the channel and become a Dragon Warrior today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.